Let's get started. So, hi, my name is Millie Allbon. I'm from the Hunger Project in Australia. It is my absolute pleasure to be talking with a very special guest, Dr. Jayson Oates. Jayson is a facial plastic surgeon and the medical director of Academy Face and Body in Perth. Their vision is to help people live and lead their highest value life. Also, Jayson, along with his wife, April Jorgensen, are long-term and significant investors in the work of the Hunger Project. Our chat today will focus on why they are invested and what keeps them committed to the end of hunger. Welcome, Jayson.
Hi, Millie, and hi, everybody.
Brilliant. Before we talk about your latest investment with the Hunger Project, Jayson, I'd really love to get to know a little bit more about your journey and what got you started with the Hunger Project.
It all really started about 6 years ago. My wife went on a Hunger Project trip to Uganda. And for her, this was really one of those life-changing sort of experiences where she saw a real different world, but also these amazing women that have worked with the Hunger Project and been able to grow and achieve so much. And she came back from that very enthusiastic to continue to be sort of involved in the Hunger Project. And I was just trailing along on her skirt tails, I guess.
Cool. But you've had quite a journey with us as well. Do you want to share a little bit about your experience with giving with the Hunger Project?
Yes. So initially, I thought with the amount of money that April was able to raise and donate, and then continuing on with sponsoring an epicenter in Africa, in Malawi, which we eventually got to go and visit, which was a fantastic experience. I was still of the thought that we were doing enough. I'd always donated to the 3 Fs, the fires, floods, and famine. And I always thought that I had done a reasonable amount of donating. But with meeting and talking with people from the Hunger Project and getting an understanding of the kind of involvement that that people in the Hunger Project had, it led me to eventually this idea of what did I think ethically is the right way to live and to deal with the money that we get, especially being a doctor and a surgeon. And certainly you can just accumulate more and more and get more stuff. But I came to this feeling that that wasn't what I really believed in, and I did want to make a difference. And I used to tell the story of what was I going to say to my son when he said, "Well, Dad, you said you wanted the world to be a better place. What did you do about it?" And so I came to this feeling I wanted to do more. And then at that time, I had a classic car, and we went through a process of auctioning the car, and then I matched the amount that the car sold for on the idea that you get a tax deduction for making a donation. So I thought I'll sell the car and it'll all be square. And that worked out very well. And obviously, we raised a lot of money with that.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like your April's journey really started, I guess, affirmed when she visited the work on the ground, but you almost have a different connection to your giving. What is it then that keeps you connected and keeps you, I guess, giving and investing in the Hunger Project?
There's a lot of charities that you can donate to. And the question that everybody has when they're donating is, how much benefit are we getting? And you can donate to things that are your favorites and pull your heartstrings. I wanted to be donating to something that was making the biggest possible difference. Because as a doctor, as a surgeon, I could travel to Africa and I could do operating trips. Not that there's necessarily a big call for facelifts and nose jobs in Africa, But that was one option. But I could only see limited benefit to a very limited number of people that you can work with. And I needed to find somebody who was able to achieve a whole lot more with the resources that I was able to provide. And with April's link to the Hunger Project, I was really able to look into essentially their finances and what they were doing, and found that they were having huge outcomes for, compared to other charities, incredibly small amounts of money. And it was the way the Hunger Project worked, and partnering with the people and utilizing the people who are, in effect, the recipients of charity as their own agents who work to better their own lives. And that was how the Hunger Project was able to achieve these great results. And so I thought that I'd found somebody who could achieve the maximum benefit for the kind of donation that I could make.
I love it. I love that sense of leverage that I get from your conversation there. That's fantastic. Thank you. I'd like to just change tack a little bit now to talk about your recent investment, given that you have been, yourself and Academy Face and Body have been the underwriting contributor to our campaign, our end of financial campaign called Angel Invest Now. And you've given $100,000, provided we can obviously get the match going with that, and other people can give as well. But that will enable COVID resilient communities, or it will enable us to empower our 550,000 leaders who are on the ground in India and around the world to build their COVID resilient communities. Obviously, firstly, thank you. That is extraordinary. And I know you're making us work hard for it. But what I would love to know is why, what had you sort of give that amount of money? Yeah, just a little bit about your decision around that.
Yeah, well, strangely, since COVID, we, my business, have been incredibly busy. And in fact, we're coming up to the end of this year and we're going to make the biggest profit that we've ever made. And so you start thinking, well, do we buy a holiday house, and we can't go on a fancy holiday anywhere else? Do we get more stuff? Do I want more things? Do I want a better car? Better than the tiny little thing that I drive around in.
Yes, I've seen that.
But it comes down to that decision. And to me, it really is a decision, is what do you think is important? And if you think that it is important to make a difference, then before you spend more on yourself, you look at what you can do with that money. And I just consider the Hunger Project can do a lot more with the money than what I can do with it. So you approach the Hunger Project, and then the idea of saying, well, okay, well, let's see if we can double an amount of money and see if we can get people to make donations, and then we'll be able to match it. And that was then a great idea, because that's really part of the whole idea of the Hunger Project, is leveraging and getting the maximum benefit for any amount of money that you're putting in.
I see from what you, or I hear from what you say there, we started this conversation talking about your vision to enable people to live their lives of their highest values. And I really see that as an expression of you and your leadership as well. So I think that's extraordinary. Thank you. Jayson, there may be people who are listening to this now who are perhaps beginning their investment journey, or maybe they're somewhere in the middle. Maybe they've been giving for a long time. I don't know, but I guess they might be giving, $100. They might be giving $100,000 like you. What would you, I guess, say to them that might help them in their decision to become an investor in the Hunger Project or this campaign?
Yeah, it's I guess thinking about what you've got in your life. perhaps getting to that understanding that there's probably sufficiency there, that there is enough. And it's the chase for more that sort of really leads to unhappiness. I think it was Gandhi who said, there is enough for need, but there's not enough for greed. And it's the wanting more that causes all of the problems. As soon as you're happy with what you've got, then you're happy. And that's a sort of a great place to be able to get to. And I think people can probably get there at any sort of place that they're at. And then you make that decision that I really want to use the money that flows through my life to flow in a direction that is going to make a difference. And if you can find a charity that can achieve more than the Hunger Project, then you should donate to them. But I can't find a charity that does more with my money than the Hunger Project. And so until I do, then I'll donate my money to the Hunger Project. And I'd like to encourage other people to do that too. So if people want to help me raise this $200,000 before the end of the financial year, which is sort of how I sort of, again, I still look at it in a very intellectual way. It's end of financial year. It's time to make sure I've donated enough money. And so, yeah, I'd like to encourage people, use the links that we'll have here, and make sure that we raise this $200,000.
Fantastic. Look, if that's it's always great to help people spend their money, I think, in many ways. So yes, thank you, Jayson. Thank you for choosing us, the Hunger Project. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for doing your due diligence and for entrusting us that we're going to do what we say we're going to do with the work that we're doing on the ground. From our partners on the ground who, by all means, at this time, are struggling far more than many of us here who are listening to this tonight or today. And from them, I just really acknowledge you and April and your family for all that you give and enable in the world and the end of hunger. That's all from us tonight. Thank you very much. And it's been an absolute joy to chat with you on this today.
Well, thank you, Millie, because it's actually people like you that give us, the encouragement to be involved, people who actually donate, dedicate their entire lives, their working lives, their career to changing the world. And yeah, that's what I never did. And now I have to make up with that by just donating some money. So and that's the thing that I've seen with the Hunger Project is so many people who have just donated their entire lives to making the world a better place and to ending world hunger. And it's actually happening.
It is. It's the partnership. And thank you for being a wonderful partner in that way.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone. And thank you for joining us today.